Hello. Hello, how are you? Nancy, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. Haven't completely started yet. Well, I'm thankful. I have that part. Got to get the food part going. Lynn, good morning. And Michael, good morning. Stevie, hello, Lynn, good morning. George, good morning. Rosemary, good morning. Sharon, good morning. This will be really nice for us because tomorrow is Thanksgiving and maybe we're going to be eating a little bit more. So today we're going to create space in our body, stretching our tissues, creating space, really expanding the rib cage, stretching the rib cage, and then that'll allow for more breath and maybe more space for food. All right. So I don't know. Let me see. All right. So depending on where you are, if it's chilly, it's a little chilly where I am. So if it is a little colder where you are, because I like to begin the practice on the floor, it would be nice if you could get an extra blanket if you're feeling cold at all. Let me stop my notifications for the day. Okay. Mhm. So it would be nice to have an extra blanket if you're warm, or I mean, well, it would be nice to have an extra blanket if you are cold. And then, of course, the blanket for the head. And so today I'd like to actually begin with a little chest expansion. And because today's practice, I want to create more space in the body and stretch as much tissue as we can. Part of the aging process, there is a tightness and a thickening that comes into our tissue in our body. And so I'd like to focus today on creating more mobility and more space in the body in general. So for today's practice, you'll need a block, maybe a strap. Yeah, a block and a strap. And then let's take the blanket, one of the blankets, and I think we're going to fold the blanket today like this. So fold the blanket like this so that you make a pretty, not too big of a size, and it really depends on the size of your torso. We're going to use this as a chest expansion device today to help bring this supported back bend into our body, which is the opposite of the way we naturally live. And then for some of you, depending on how much roundness you may have in your body, and that actually becomes a part of the structure. So as this shape comes into the body, there is some calcification. The bones lay down a little more padding for the spine to be supported. So it depends on how much of that you have in your body. And you don't want to force the issue. So you want to go slowly but surely to the place of gently stretching your body. And so for some of you, you may need a little more support at your head, or that extra blanket can be on your body. If you're not cold at all, sometimes having an extra body for some weight around the belly can be very grounding for the body. So let's just do a little bit before we come down onto the floor. Let's do a little movement of the body. So take the legs straight and point the toes, and then flex and point and flex, point and flex. Take the legs a little wide, and you're going to go in and out. So getting a little bit of movement to come into the pelvis, so that when we do that chest expansion, there's a little fluidity that comes into the pelvis, so that the low back doesn't get all tight with that. Bending the legs, take the feet as wide as the mat or a little bit wider, moving the body side to side. This, there can be a pulling that happens in the low back. So bringing in a little bit of stretch in movement and fluids, and just the opportunity for that space to be created in the body. Okay, we're going to come down onto our backs. So bring your blanket that you folded is underneath your heart. And then put your head on the floor. Keep your knees bent at first. Notice if this is okay for you. For some, this may not be appropriate. For some, you may need to have a blanket underneath the head. And then bring your hands up so that you arrange your head so it's the center of the skull that touches the floor. So that's the top of the spine where the cervical spine becomes the skull. Try to get that place so that you're actually arranging your body in this position. The knees are bent, the feet are flat. Let the feet be a little wider than your body. And then if you're going to use the blanket, the extra blanket on your body because you're chilly, you could do that. Or you could use the extra blanket behind your head if you need that for some of you. And then for some, you could use the weight of the blanket on your belly to help support this area of the body that's below the curve that we are trying to stretch. Then bring your arms out to the side, palms are up towards the sky, and feel your way into this. I was teaching a workshop and someone mentioned that she saw a version of this pose. And so she tried it. And I'm imagining that she had too much of a fold of the one behind her heart because she said that she had such sore shoulders afterwards for days. And if you do too big of a stretch in the body, the shoulders with gravity are being stretched, right? You're manipulating that thoracic spine, which is the least flexible part of the spine and may have some dysfunction in it or some malalignment. And so you want to be careful that you either support the back of the head so that it's not too intense, you keep the knees bent so it doesn't go to that low back. And depending on how high you folded your blanket, that will determine what you need. So you have to feel your way into this. If there's a really strong pulling, then support your head so that you have less of that happening. And at the same time, you want to find the right amount of stretch in your body. So the deep stretch that's appropriate for you. So once you find yourself where you're going to be, bring your awareness to your breath, to the body and to the breath. And when the eyes are closed, you could explore and notice where you feel the sensations. For some of you, if you need a little deeper stretch, you could slide the hands on the floor so that the elbows bend, creating a little more stretch in that shoulder joint. Notice if the stretch goes anywhere else. So I'm trying to be a little slower with this stretch because of the comment that was made to me about the injury that she received from doing too deep of a supported back bend. And I think that this is actually a really lovely position for us to find ourselves in often. So it could be on a daily basis, it could be a few times a week. This is the opposite of the way we live our lives. And so it's the opposite of sitting, the opposite of looking down as we do so many moments of our day, of our waking day, is spent in that forward flexion. So this is a great way to correct your posture, to bring your body into the opposite position of that forward fold. And then for those of you that have bone density issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia, half of all the fractures are in the spine. And a lot of them come from posture, the way our body is held, and from bending forward.
So for all of us, it's a good raised awareness piece on this shape, this extension position in the spine, and especially the thoracic spine where the ribs are attached. Feel the sacrum, the base of the spine on the floor. Feel the shoulder blades supported by the blanket. Then feel the center of the head on the floor or on a blanket. That's your spine. Then bring your awareness to your arms at the side. Notice if the right arm and the left arm, if they're equally weighted. Notice if there is any holding that's happening in your chest or shoulders. Bring your awareness there to your chest and shoulders. See if you could soften and let go of the weight of the arms. Let go of any holding that's taking place in the body subconsciously. It's a protective motion. So make sure that as you release, that you notice if you need to adjust your props to support your body weight. And bring your awareness to your breath. I give a lot of instruction in this position because not just that comment that I received lately, but I remember in the past few years, or many years ago actually, more comments along those lines. So it is important to keep your body in a safe position and to be body aware. Let the back teeth be separated, let the lips touch. Mouth is soft. If you'd like to take the tongue, you could rest the place where the roof of the mouth and the top teeth meet. And this usually separates the teeth. You're going to use the breath to help facilitate this stretch to our thoracic spine. Muscles of respiration are lining the ribs, they're in between the ribs, on top of the ribs. So bring your awareness to the next couple of inhales and exhales. Feel your rib cage expand slowly. Feel the body stretch. Notice how the breath can bring in this deepening of a stretch sensation. Let's do the 6 movements of the spine, of the rib cage. Spine and rib cage apparatus, protection. So bring your awareness first to the upward movement of the ribs towards the sky. And as you breathe in, visualize the breath coming in and going to the front part of the ribs. Go slow, go deep, feel the stretch coming into the body. Notice where it is. Notice if it's the same on both sides. Bring your awareness to the sides of your ribs, underneath the armpit area and the body. And as you breathe in, breathe wide. Mind goes, the energy flows. Bring your mind to the sides of your ribs. of the ribs or to the spine. Then breathe backwards towards your blanket, towards the floor, noticing what you notice. See if you could feel the breath moving back towards the spine and feel the backward pressure in and your ribs press up against the blanket. Creating more space, lungs to expand even more. Bringing your awareness now to the upper lobes of the lungs, the clavicular part of the lungs are. And as you breathe in, let the breath and let it move up to the upper lobes of the lungs, the upper ribs, the head. Moving up towards the head as it comes in, the clavicle bones. And then the last direction of the lungs is to move downwards. The primary breathing muscle is the diaphragm, and it lines your entire lower. It acts like a plunger. Part of the breath is the inhale, and as we inhale, the diaphragm pulls down, which draws the breath into the body. Drawing in the breath deep to the lower lobes of the lungs. Feel the entire perimeter of your lower ribs expand and move as you activate your primary breathing muscle to draw the breath into your body. Go slow, be in your body and feel the stretch occur. You could create a very deep stretch deep inside your body. Stretching muscles of respiration, muscles of posture, muscles of the abdomen. Bring your awareness to one side at a time, the entire half circle from the middle of the belly button all the way around the lower ribs to the spine. On one side, feel the diaphragm drawing downward towards your legs. Be inside your body and notice if you feel releasing, stretching. Do the same thing with the other side, as if you could see it happening. Bring your awareness to your entire diaphragm, deep into the lowest lobes of the lungs, fully oxygenating your body. Slow down your exhales. Your exhales are your ability to release toxins in the body. Carbon dioxide is toxic. It's a byproduct of cellular metabolism, which is your cells creating the energy for your body. Your cells use the oxygen that you draw in on the inhale. And then the exhale is the release of all the byproducts and the waste products for our body. Inhaling energy, exhaling toxins and that which no longer serves you. It's one of our major pathways of detoxification in the body is the exhalation, the lungs from the body. 3 more deep inhales. Finishing up your last one. Hold the breath at the top, let the exhale take. Let the breath go. Bring your awareness to your fingers and toes, the ankles, the wrists. If you have a blanket on your belly, let's take the blanket off, move slowly, especially if there was a nice deep opening that occurred in the body, and then slowly take one leg at a time, straight, and then straighten your arms overhead, straighten your feet, try to touch the toes to the floor, try to touch the hands overhead, thumbs touch the floor if they can, palms are inward, fingertips are reaching long, stretch your body glove here. Try to touch the toes to the floor, touching the floor if you can. Reach those arms over and flex the heel, slide the heel away. Let's do the same thing with the other side. Slide the hand away, flex that foot, stretch that foot away, stretch the hand away, stretching your entire lateral chain, stretching. And then bring yourself to a neutral position. Let's take the knees into a bent position. Let's take the blanket. If you don't have a blanket behind your head, bring a blanket behind your head. We're going to do a little to stretch the midsection of the body since we have this blanket underneath our chest. So we're going to stretch the part of the body between the lower ribs and where the legs attach to the body. So let's take the arms out to the side, bending the knees, noticing if you've created a pretty big stretch in your chest or your shoulder area. I definitely feel that in my arms from all of that stretching that we just did. So keep the feet a little bit wider. Take my socks off. If you have socks on, it is nice to have socks off to feel the soles on the floor. And then of course, if your feet are cold and you don't want to, that's fine as well. Let's take the soles of the feet a little bit wider than the body. Keep the soles of the feet on the floor as you begin to inhale your legs to one side, exhale your legs to the other side. Going really slow here, not letting a tushy cheek come off the floor. So trying to isolate this in the hip joint and not letting it go into the back. It's definitely going to go there a little bit, but trying to minimize that for now. Warming up your body, being nice and soft here. See if you could feel underneath the ribs. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the feet wide so you're off the mat, or you have the heels on the mat and the toes are off. Let's go a little bigger here with our movement. You're going to inhale, let your knees go over to the side. Feel that stretch on the front waist. Then exhale, contract your core. So draw everything towards center, belly button to spine. Inhale, legs go to the other side. Exhale to come back to center. Inhale to the other side. Exhale back to center. Quite often people ask about the breath. They either say they forget on how to do it or ask if it matters. So usually in the movement aspect of the yoga practice, we inhale when the limbs move away from the body or we're stretching something. And we exhale when we come back to center towards the body or we contract the muscles. So as you inhale to the side, you're lengthening your muscles. And then as you exhale, you're contracting back to center. So let the core, everything come back to center right below the button. Inhale, exhale back to center, inhale. The next time your legs come over to the left, let's leave them there. So slowly allow them to arrive and then let them soften there. So let that top leg go, let the bottom leg go. You're not trying to push your leg towards the floor. You're letting it drop towards the floor and it may touch. And then the legs are to the left, so let's stretch the right side body. Take the right arm, flex the wrist, gently guide the right knee away and press that front right hip up towards the sky, creating a deep stretch on the right side here. Then push the heart up towards the sky, into that thoracic spine, and then you're going to accentuate that by pushing the heart up towards the sky. Flex the right wrist and reach out the heel of the hand. Feel. And then as you exhale, you bring yourself back up to center. Let your body come back to the center before you begin to move over to the other side. Lengthening, letting the knees move over to the right. Once they arrive, let them soften there. Right hand is resting. Then activate that left side body. Reach that left hand away, flex the wrist. Reach that left knee away from you and press that front left hip up towards the sky. Deep stretching here. Pressing the heart up towards the sky. Take one more breath. Down alongside the body, letting that tension leave this area we have been stretching for quite a while now, which is the opposite of the way we live. So for some of you, you may feel that a little deeper than others. Let's roll on to the right side, cradling your head in your right arm. Let's take the left hand on the floor in front of you, bend that elbow. Come up slowly here so you can engage the muscles of that left arm and left shoulder area. Pressing your hand into the floor, letting the shoulder lead the way. And then let's prepare to do some more work. Take the blanket that was behind your chest, bring the blanket up here. Let's come on top of our shins for a second, just to create a little space in the body. Inhale, notice what you notice. I definitely feel that deep stretch that took place in my chest, shoulder area. Maybe for some of you, you notice that one side is more than the other.
And then when you do this, make sure that there's not an elevation of the shoulders. So try to let your shoulders be heavy here. Let this be an arm movement, isolating the movement in the arms. And then let's take one hand down alongside the body. The other hand goes up and over and go back and forth side to side. You could feel like you're a piece of seaweed in the ocean. So there's a very fluid movement to this. And I think that when we move with that thought in mind that you are in water, it actually sets up a safer movement pattern in the body. We're not trying so hard to get somewhere with our body. We're allowing movement to happen. So it feels nice and fluid, and you're creating a little more space on the side here. This can be a nice way for those of you with low back issues to relieve a little tension in that area of the body. And then let's bring ourselves, we're going to use a block at some point. And then I'd like you to take your strap here, since we are stretching this part of our body. Let's see. So the options for sitting are to be up here like this for those whose knees don't like to bend. For those of you whose knees bend, you could take your block and place your block between your ankles and sit on your block. This is a supported Vajrasana pose, and it feels really nice to align the spine this way. So you could sit like this, you could sit on your heels, or you could be up all the way on your legs like this if you need to be. And then find whatever position you're going to come into. Take your strap. We're going to do a little shoulder stretch here. We're going to do a lot with this upper body today, creating more space in our body, doing a lot to correct the posture and take that seated forward flexion position of the body. So take the strap, and you could use a yoga strap, or it could be a belt, could be a strap for a robe, something, and even a towel. So you're going to bring your arms forward, and even when you watch me, you're going to know whether this is okay for your body or not. There's an intelligence in our body that tells us yes I can or no I can't. So some shoulder issues don't like this, and then some people are able to get this motion in their body even if they have shoulder issues. So see if it's appropriate for you. One thing I want you to be careful of or notice is that if you do have shoulder issues, sometimes there's a bend in the elbow. So sometimes when I watch this, it's people are bending their elbow or trying to be, there's a very lopsided aspect to this. I'd like it to be as wide of a span as you can create in your arms, and reaching your arms back, coming all the way to the back position. The arms are open as wide as they can, no bend in the elbows. And then shoulder blades are sliding towards each other. If you can bring yourself to a level where the shoulder height would be, then contract your core, push your belly button back towards your spine. So protect your lumbar spine here, stretching the shoulders. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up and out. Bring yourself forward, bring your shoulders forward, bring them up, bring them back, and bring them down. Forward, up, back, and down. And then one more like that, shoulder rolls forward, up, back, and down. This is a nice thing to do throughout your day. These kinds of movements where we do shoulder rolls, and now we're going to do shoulder shrugs, bringing the shoulders up and then drop them. Bring them up and drop them. This shrugging of the shoulders, this is a protective movement in the body that can happen when there's stress in your body, whether you realize it or not. Watching something, listening to something, or having a thought or a fear-based thought of the future. So bringing the shoulder rolls, the shrugs is a nice way to take out some of that tension in the upper back and neck area. Let's take the hands. We're going to fold the hands behind the head. Elbows are out to the side. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to only bend your chin, your cervical spine. So only bend the neck. The chin comes towards the chest. Feel that stretch in the upper back and neck. Don't round your upper spine. Inhale to open. Push your heart forward. Exhale. One more. Inhale to open. And then exhale. Bring yourself back to an open position. Keep your arms alongside your body. Imagine that there's a sheet of glass in front of you and your elbows can't come forward. So push your elbows to the side as much as you can. Hold your, I like to put my thumbs down the side of my neck, clasping the hands. I'm almost holding my head. So there's a lifting up that's happening here. Inhale, and then exhale, go towards one side, let the other elbow go up towards the sky. Inhale to get tall, exhale, other side. Inhale back up, and let's go. Going side to side. And then let's take the hands off. So for those of you that are up on your shins, of course you will not be touching the floor. And then when you're on the floor, let your hands, let the arm that goes on the floor, let that elbow bend up and over. Feel that beautiful stretch along the side of the body. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the strap. Let's do one more thing for the rhomboids, the muscles between the shoulder blades, to help strengthen the posture. Take your strap or whatever it is you have, hold it, and you're going to be pulling it really tight. Arms are up overhead. Inhale. As you exhale, pulling tight, bring the strap down. Don't let it touch your head. So pushing the strap back as you lower it. Try not to let it touch your head. You pull on that strap, really strongly pulling on the strap. Inhale to rise, exhale to lower. Strengthening those postural muscles that hold the shoulder blades. Contract your core, push your belly button back towards your spine. Try to keep your chin parallel to the floor. Just moving that strap up and down the back of the head, but it's not touching the head. You're pushing it back. And then one more to rise. And then let's lower. Stay there. Few breaths here. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Contract the core. Take one more breath. And then let's go ahead and bring yourself up. Lots of tension there in the back of the neck. Let's take the strap off to the side. Take the block out. Let's bring the blanket underneath the knees. Take yourself onto all fours. And then let's do a little crawling. Crawl around, deeply setting shoulders, hips. Then come on to your fingertips. I think this will strengthen our fingers. There's not a lot of things we do in our lives to get our fingers stronger. We don't even think about these little muscles that are in our hands. 27 bones, 27 joints. Bringing yourself back to center, take yourself up, and then articulate your fingers. Articulate. Try to get everything to bend. There's a lot of joints in the hands. Roll your wrists. All right. We are going to do our 1 minute plank challenge. You could do any version of plank that you'd like. Take your fingers forward. Let's take 1 foot back. Stretch the calf. So do a little stretching of your calf. Make sure your pinky toe is touching. Then switch the other side. Flip those toes under. Feel the back of your leg and feel how the body weight goes back. So when you are in your plank, pushing your body weight back helps to distribute the weight. Keep that foot back there. Arrange your shoulders so that arrange your wrists so they're underneath your shoulders, and then bring your legs up. And then any variation, if you need to be in the modification of the plank, you would keep the shins and the knees on the floor. And then if you need to come down to the forearm, you could do that. Press the floor away from you with your feet and with your hands. So feel yourself pressing away from the floor. Then find the length in the spine from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Nice long spine. If you'd like to explore doing a 3-legged dog, you could take one leg off at a time, pressing the weight back. You could feel a little more stretch in that calf. Switching if you're doing the 3-legged dog. Lots of strength in the body. We want to keep our body nice and strong to support us. Find that length in your body. Push your hands into the floor and your feet and draw them towards each other. Feel those deep flexors turning on. They're attached to your spine, some of them. And then let's go ahead and come down. Take your wrists, shake your wrists. And then let's stretch the wrist. Take the hand out, bending the wrist. Take your hand behind the top part of your hand, not your fingers, and get as much of a stretch here as you can. And then let's do the other direction. And then the other arm. Hopefully you remember some of these so that you can do this for the rest of your life, keeping your body mobile, not letting the thickening and the tightness enter your body. That happens, it's not part of the natural aspects of aging. So keeping your body nice and fluid and mobile. Okay, we're gonna do it's like a side plank or a half moon pose. So let's take your block here, doing a little strengthening. Then we'll go down on the ground to do a little more yummy stretching for the body. But I'd like to do a little strengthening here because it's important to be strong. So let's do the right leg first. Take the right hand on the floor, and you're going to have the block by your left hand. You're going to take your right knee off the floor and then opening up the hip. So you bring the left knee up, you take the left foot. So the left foot is alongside the body. And the block is here for some of you. You may need this. Then if you could stack your joints, letting the shoulder blades be stacked behind the body and the hips stacked. Take your hand on top of your waist and let the elbow be back. So don't have the elbow up in the air. Let the elbow be back so that shoulder blade slides towards the spine. Flex the foot, contract the core, lengthen out your heel as you lift the left leg into the air. And then if you'd like to bring the left arm up, you could bring the left arm up. If you'd like to bring the left arm over, you could bring the left arm over. Push your heart forward. Imagine you still have that blanket underneath your chest. So there's still a supported extension in that chest. If you would like to add a deeper back bend, if you bend that left knee, the left heel comes closer to the tushy, you could reach around and grab the top of the foot, coming into a deeper back bend. You don't have to do all of this. These are just suggestions. Contracting your core. If your wrist is not liking this, you can come up onto all 5 fingertips like we just walked around on them. And then take one more breath. And then you're going to come out slowly. So come out slowly so you use a lot of muscular strength, holding your body in all of these different ranges of motion. Go slow. And then we'll go to the other side. So to move slowly is really important because then you have the opportunity throughout that entire movement pattern to strengthen the muscles that are mobilizing the joints as we move. So it is nice to move slowly because it's going to have a better opportunity to strengthen more aspects of your body along the way. Let's come on to the left side now. So you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders, especially make sure that your left wrist, elbow, and shoulder are stacked. And one other thing is I see people with their hands too close to their body so that this space here is too narrow and you want it to be a little farther away so you have a nice lengthening in your body. Then you're going to take your left leg off to the side. So the left knee stays on the floor. You just slide the leg off to the side like a kickstand. Let the left leg go off to the side. And then you're going to stack your joints. You're going to open up that right knee, stacking the hips. Now you're loading in that left hip. Your right leg goes on the floor. Block is here if you need it. You can bring your right hand up and then let your right elbow be back. Contract your core, flex your right foot, lift that right leg up. So you're strengthening the muscles on the side of the body that adduct the legs, which is very strengthening for that hip joint, supportive for hips, supportive for knees, supportive for ankles, supportive for walking. So a lot of stuff happening here. A lot of good preservation of health and happiness in the body as we age. Arm can come up if you'd like. Really keep that leg elevated. So it's a lot of work to hold it up against gravity. Arm could reach up and over, lengthening out the side body if you'd like. If you do this, reach out the heel and the hand. Feel that length on the side. And then if you want, and pressing the chest forward, stacking those shoulders, stacking the hips. If you would like to bend the right knee, bringing the right heel closer to the tushy, and then reach around and grab if you'd like. So these are all just suggestions. And if you need to come up onto your fingertips, come up onto your fingertips, do whatever variation you can do. And if you can't do any of it yet or ever, that's okay. And we're even strengthening our neck here, holding our head up like this, strengthening those muscles that hold the head on your body. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring the leg back out to the side. And then we're going to come all the way down. If you can, flip your toes under. Flip your toes under and sit on them. Keeping mobility in the feet is important too. My goal is to help you not lose a lot of the range of motion in your body so that you can always be mobile and fluid and minimize pain and discomfort and joint issues in the body. And then coming onto the feet, stretching the top of the feet. I know for some of you this doesn't work. Let's pop up as if it's easy. It is relatively easy for me, and I know it's not real easy for everyone. Let's come into a squat. Squat, try to get your legs onto the floor. Knee flexion may not allow you to do this. If you still have this range of motion, try to find it. And then try not to sit in here. This tonifies the whole pelvic area. So try not to sit down in it. So lift yourself out a little bit so that you're using some muscular activity here. And then arms, try to get your arms on the inside so you really get those adductors, those inner thighs to stretch. I think this feels pretty good. And I'm not sure how it feels for the rest of you. All right, let's come out of that. Have your block alongside you, and then take your blanket up. So one thing before we go down, we did a lot today with the side body to create space. We're going to do a little bit more to rotate the part of the spine we were adding that extension to. So this 12 vertebra attached to the ribs is the least flexible part of the spine, and we are going to rotate it now. We did some extension work in it. And when we go down on the floor, one of the movements, well, all of the movements we're going to do are going to get in there and start to create space. Oh, right. If you have bone density issues when you come down onto the floor, coming down to the side is the preferred way to move your body down. And then if you do not have bone density issues, you could come through the flexion position, contracting the core, bringing yourself down slowly to come all the way onto the floor. You want to not flex your spine when you have osteoporosis. It's a lot of pressure on the weakening vertebra in this part of the body. All right. So keep the knees bent here. The feet are flat. Blankets behind your head. Let's clasp our hands behind our head again. And you're going to draw your elbows towards each other. And I'd like you to stretch the back of your neck. So the only thing that's stretching and flexing is the cervical spine, the neck. You're not rounding the part of your rib cage where the part of the spine where the ribs are attached. Chin to chest. You lift your head up, you feel that stretch. Then go ahead and place your head down. Take your arms alongside your body. Let's do a little rotation side to side. So inhale, and then as you exhale into that, actually inhale into the stretch. Exhale back to center. Inhaling into the stretch.
Make sure your elbows are pulled away from your ears. Your shoulder blades are slide towards each other, towards the center. So you could get a really good range of motion here. And then your eyes are closed. I'd like you to feel how the back of the head makes a shape kind of like a rainbow, where it goes up, it gets a little higher in the center, and then it starts to go down towards the ears as it comes to the side. Go slow here. Try not to pick your head up as it moves. Let it glide along this floor. Notice if you have the same range of motion side to side. And many of us don't. There's usually a tighter side. We usually look in one direction more than the other. So this is a nice way to keep that neck mobile. And then bring yourself back to a center position. We're going to stretch that upper spine. So I would like you to come onto your right side, cradle your head in your right arm, and bring the blanket so it's underneath your head, not your upper body. And for some of you, maybe even folding the blanket. I think folding the blanket in two here is kind of nice. And the block, some of you may need the block in between your legs. So if that's you, put it between your legs. You don't have to, just a suggestion. Let's take that left arm and start to mobilize just the left arm. So when your arm gets above your head, your palm is facing down towards the sky, or sorry, your palm is facing down towards the ground. And then you begin the inhalation slowly. Go slow here. Palm starts to roll up towards the sky, going towards the back. Inhale to come forward. Sorry, exhale to come forward. Palm is down. Inhale, palm is open. Keep your knees together here. Try to isolate this in the upper body. This is like a clock. Inhale when your body goes open. Feel that stretch. Exhale down. And then go the opposite direction. So you exhale when your hand is down, and then you inhale when it's time to open up. Go slow. Try to get a really nice articulation here, stretching chest and arm, rotator cuff muscles, shoulder muscles. And then bring yourself back to center. Let your arm rest for a second. Just let it rest. Let it wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Take your blanket underneath your head. Bring your right hand forward. Bring your left hand on top of your right. Now for this, we do want the legs to stay together. So it is actually nice to have a block between your knees here. And then the key here is that this upper leg, the left leg, is going to stay where it is, and it's not going to slide towards the left. So there shouldn't be any movement in the block. You only want to move your upper body in whatever range of motion it's going to do. And we want to try to minimize the lower body movement. Take your left hand on top of your right hand, bend your fingers. Let's inhale as you slide the left fingers all the way across the chest, right onto the left shoulder. And that left elbow points up towards the sky. Then you slide the shoulder blade towards the spine as you open your arm and unbend that left arm. Go slow. You'll feel stuff stretching all the way down the side of the body. That's your inhale. Your exhale, you come back. Inhale, it's called open book. Arranging our upper body, trying to get that thoracic rotation. Keep the block in the knees. Go slow. Let's do one more. This is 3. Stay here. Your knees are still forward. You're not letting that top leg go. You probably feel a stretch in your arm, maybe even around that wrist area. Stretch, creating more space for the nerves that go all the way down to your fingers. And then on your next exhale, you're going to come forward. let's take like a piece of chalk. It's called chalk trace. Like you have a piece of chalk on the floor. You're going to take, as you inhale, you reach up above you. When you get, try to keep the chalk on the floor if you can. You're right above your head. And then if you can, keep it on the floor as you still draw, try to keep your knees from moving. Draw all the way around. So there's length in your spine. As you do this, try to keep your hand. Not everybody will be able to keep their hand on the floor. That's just a directional piece. And maybe you can. You inhale, your hand stays on the floor, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. That's 2. One more. Last one. Go slow. You reach here. When you get overhead, reach, lengthen your spine. And now rotating from the lower ribs on up. Keep the block between your legs. You could squeeze the block if you'd like. Tracing all the way open. Stay there. Stay there. And then bring yourself back. Last one we're going to do on this side, butterfly. Take your hand behind your head, clasping the hand behind the head. The elbows are coming towards each other. Keep your knees where they are, squeezing that block. Now as you inhale, let your elbow go up towards the sky. Slide the shoulder blade towards your spine. Press your heart forward. Rotate your upper trunk. It may not move very far. Inhale and then exhale. Inhale. Exhale to come to close. And then one more time. Inhale. Make sure when your elbow goes up, that shoulder blade slides towards the spine. Pressing the heart forward. Stay here. Really feel that armpit area open. And then let's come back. So we're going to go to the other side. Go ahead and roll over to your left side. Take the blanket underneath your head. Bring the block between your knees. You could fold your blanket in 2 if you'd like, and then take your arm out in front of you. We'll do the book. Oh, sorry. First, take your hand underneath your head. We're going to warm up that shoulder. So let's take the arm forward. Begin your inhale when your arm's above your head. When your arm opens up and moves out to the side, that's your inhalation. Keep your knees together. And your exhale is when the arm comes forward, palm goes down. Go slow. And then we'll switch in the other direction. Inhale when your arm is open. Exhale when it goes forward. Go slow here. A lot of stuff happening. This is a separate part of the skeleton. We have 2 parts to our skeleton. We have the skull, spine, rib cage, pelvis, legs. And then we have this other part, which is the clavicle bone, the scapula, and the arm bones. So trying to get all the muscles and connective tissue that mobilizes this part of your spine and supports this part of your spine, stretching, removing congestion. And it's important to go slow because a lot of people have issues in this part of their body. And especially if you find yourself sitting a lot or being sedentary. All right, bringing yourself to center. Let's do the thoracic spine work, doing a little rotation and opening up the body. So really working on thoracic rotation here. Take the left hand on top. Oh, sorry, the right hand is on top of the left hand. The left hand is on the floor. You're going to keep your block between your knees, and then you're going to do the open book. So you're going to inhale, let your hands come across your chest, let the elbow go up towards the sky, keep your knees where they are, and then open your arm out to the side, pushing your heart forward. Shoulder blade slides towards the spine, and then exhale to come back. Inhale to open. Find that arrangement in your joints as you move. Last one, slide the fingertips on the arm, slide them across the chest, elbow up towards the sky, slide that shoulder blade towards the spine, press the chest forward as you rotate that thoracic spine, opening the arm, unbending the arm, stay here. And on your next exhale, come out. Let's do the chalk trace. Take that piece of chalk on the floor. You're going to inhale to reach up. Try to keep the chalk on the floor as you open the arm. Noticing if one side is tighter than the other. Inhale. And on this last one, you're going to stay there. Go through your full range of motion. Go slow. You could close your eyes if you like to feel what's happening. Stay here. And then on your next exhale, come off doing the butterfly. Take your hand behind your head, both hands behind the head, elbows are forward. As you inhale, lift the elbow up towards the sky, let the shoulder blade come towards the spine, heart presses forward, inhaling, open. Exhale to close. Inhale, open. And then the last one, you're going to open and stay there. Press your heart forward, keep your block where it is, keep that upper right leg where it is. Make sure there's space in your right waist. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way onto your back, bringing your knees into your chest. So the knees are in at your chest, you're rocking side to side. Take the legs up in the air, shake your legs. So that's a lot of twisting, and the counterindication for that is a back bend. So we're going to do a bridge pose. Let's take your block here. We'll do a little flowing bridge and then a supported bridge. Take the blanket away from your head. Take the block between your knees, turning on that pelvic support. Take your hands down alongside your body. Let your arms go overhead on the inhale. As you exhale, squeeze the block, let the low back touch the floor, and then peel your spine off the floor, one vertebra at a time. Exhale to lower. Or sorry, inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Go slow. Close your eyes. Feel that spinal undulation. Exhaling to lift the pelvis off. Bring the arms down alongside the body. And as you inhale, place the spine down on the floor, one vertebra at a time. Let the arms go back overhead. Go slow here. Close your eyes and feel this in your body. Last one. Stay here. Palms are down. Squeeze the block. Lift your pelvis. Press your heart up towards your face. Lengthen out your waist. Lengthen out your knees. Chin towards your chest. And then let's go ahead. Bring yourself down. Take the block out. Let's do a supported bridge pose to end the practice. Taking the block underneath your pelvis. Let the edge of the back of the pelvis rest on the block. Couple of breaths here. Finishing up your last breath. You're going to push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis off the block. You're going to prepare for your Shavasana. Take your props off to the side. Bring your blanket behind your head. And then bring yourself into your Shavasana position. So find whatever is the most comfortable for you. You could bolster your knees if you'd like. Letting go, letting any tension that's created, feeling your body, noticing lots of space, lots of release, a lot of body awareness today. begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll your ankles, your wrists, and then move in a way that feels good for your body. Bringing your knees into your chest. And then rock all the way onto your side. Gently pushing yourself up to a seated position. We'll close the practice with sound. We'll do the letter M, the a gentle humming sound. Letting that vibration settle anything that was dislodged in the body during today's practice. We got into a lot of nooks and crannies today, places that maybe you haven't been in a while, or you overlook or move beyond quickly. So hopefully you're feeling pretty good and loose. Let's take the hands onto the chest, nice and lengthened spine, tucking the chin down towards the chest. Take a deep breath down to the belly. We bow to each other in namaste. Namaste. All right. I feel totally relaxed. I have to go to sleep. Happy Thanksgiving, Michael. Hi, Carolyn. How are you? Yes. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. I need to get cooking today. Haven't done anything yet. Well, kind of. All right. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. All right. I will see you next week. I'll be back next week. I'm actually teaching on Saturday. So the stress reduction class from 9:30 to 10:45 Pacific Standard Time will be happening. So I will see those of you that are going to come to that class. All right. Thank you. Yes, it did, George. All right. Bye, everyone.